This is ACOFAE. Laura Marie and Jessica Marie proudly present A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, a podcast. Fair warning, everything the hosts say is explicit, full of spoilers and adult content and shall not be used against them. They have opinions. Let's try not to drag anyone for expressing themselves and just have fun for an hour. We all deserve it.
This episode does not contain any spoilers, but does mention ACOTAR, specifically with ACOMAF, and of Jade and Dragons.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, your weekly deep dive into the fantasy, literature, and fandoms that we love. I'm Laura Marie.
And I'm Jessica Marie.
And today this is so exciting, we are continuing on our pop culture poetry journey. This is our series, and we are continuing with
Feminine Rage the Musical, also known as The Tortured Poets Department by Taylor Swift. Laura, I'm so excited. We've been talking about this for months because you came up with this pop culture poetry concept. Then lo and behold, she announces it at the Grammys and we were like, fucking A, we're doing it. It's so exciting. And we approached this album with the lyricist that she is, as like, and we did the anthology as every song, every lyric is a poem. And that's how we're approaching it. And it's so exciting. I feel like I could gush about it, which is so like, you have to go back to our villains episode. I think it's like episode 4 or 5 where we talk about like how so many of us are unlearning some internalized misogyny when it comes to Taylor Swift, or when you liked her and you didn't and you were kind of like between. But at the end of it, just like you and I have had conversations about like, even if you don't like Nesta, you have to respect the person that she's become. I feel like the same can be said about Taylor Swift. You don't have to like her, but you sure as hell have to respect her talent. And that's what this episode is. And we get to deep dive into all of the songs. Maybe not all of them, but kind of cherry pick. There's so many Taylor Swift podcasts out there. We'll put those in the show notes that really do those deep dives into like an hour or 2 episode per song. So we'll make sure we have, we're just crediting all the fandoms because that's what we get to explore today.
Well, we are exploring so much because not only are we exploring this anthology, but our very own Jessica Marie has had an experience. She has had, is it life-changing? Tell us what has happened to you.
So what has happened to me and the good fortune of the universe is that I have been fortunate enough to see the Eras Tour 3 times, for face value price, like face value through Ticketmaster. I am blessed. I highly acknowledge that. I went to MetLife Night 1, then I went to Toronto Night 1 and Toronto Night 3, and the seats were amazing. Toronto obviously had the Tortured Poets Department set. And the concerts themselves are 2 very different experiences. Coming from Night 1 at MetLife, it was just a regular show. Like, it was fans and everything, but it wasn't the fanfare that it has become now. I mean, resales are always going to happen. But the resale then was like, $800, $900. And you're like, at that point, you're like, oh, you want it to drop. Now people would be like, what they would do for that type of resale price. But the stadiums are getting involved. The local towns are getting involved. The cities are getting involved. They're making it an experience. You have vendors who just want to, even if you don't get tickets to the concert, the areas around the venue want fans to be immersed in it. So you never feel like you're missing out. And I feel like Toronto really brought that, and also had the Tortured Poets Department. I think the second this dropped, there was no way. And after seeing the performance, there was no way I couldn't think of not seeing this performance, especially a lot of the songs that this was the first performance after the United States had our most recent election. So there were a lot of feelings and a lot of like, it was very cathartic for a lot of people to be scream singing some of these, even if it wasn't within concert etiquette. So it was a lot, but in the best way.
A lot in the best way. But also, how would you describe here the fandom?
I feel like it's different in the sense of everybody's excited. Everybody is friendly. Everybody wants to make conversation if you're part of the fandom. And I feel like there's a difference between the people who are part of the fandom, new and old, because there are a lot of people that I had like briefly spoken to on the train, that this was their first show. The age range is all like, it's a great age range because people are like, you know, bringing their daughters or their nieces or their friends' kids. And like, you're having like this full family experience. Or you have people who have just like, they listened to it their whole lives and they saved, or they're learning to come around to Taylor. And then you have people who I wouldn't consider are in the fandom. They just kind of wanted to appreciate the performance. Or you have the, you know, you do have some other people who wanted to go to say that they went, not necessarily appreciate the art that is Taylor Swift. It was more of like a clout thing. And you can tell that, I feel like, by the type of people and the discussions they were having, or just like overhearing the judgment that was happening for others. And I know I say that like, here I am judging them, but not in a mean girl way. And I feel like that was the difference.
Jess, how does the addition of Tortured Poets depart? How does that into the concert? What did that change? What was the vibe? Like, I just love this idea that you have this really fantastic comparison too of before, after, and also we know these songs now. So like by now, everyone knows the lyrics. Everybody has like attached some meaning to it. We're all screaming for one reason or another. So, like, what was the vibe shift too?
Well, I think the vibe shift, especially because I went night one, it was very much I feel like when the album first dropped, you and I had been listening to it together in the morning, and we were breaking down the lyrics. And then because it dropped at midnight or something, there was a whole slew of people who have a lot more energy than both of us and stayed up till midnight. They were listening to it live, breaking down everything. And when you and I had been listening to it, at first we were like, well, let's just vibe. And then we were kind of starting to piecemeal things. But we appreciated the album as a whole before assigning where the song context might have been applied to. But with the months that we've had since its April release, it's very much, like I said, like you can apply some of these lyrics to a romantic relationship, a friendship, and like a situational circumstances. Like I said, with politics and the government, some people are able to like how can they apply it to books and like characters that we love to read, or work situations in some regard. And I feel like we do a pretty good job, between the two of us, or we'll have an initial reaction, episode for some books. And sometimes we revisit those same books. Like, okay, we gave ourselves some space. What do we think? Are emotions still raw? Even at its core, when we talk about the podcast, we always say, like, when you reread things, what has happened in your life? What has changed in your life that gives you a different, like, insight to how you process what you're reading? And I feel like this is exactly that. And that's just in a span of a few short months.
Now, I know that if you are a longtime listener, thank you, but also that you know that I have not always had a deep love of Taylor Swift, and I am not ashamed of that because we all start somewhere and growth is important. And I think also embracing new fans is how you keep a fandom alive, because you need something, right?
Yeah, well, and to not isolate the new friend, because even one of the things, she loves the audience, she loves the crowd, and she goes, how many people are here who this is not their first time seeing me, and I've seen her multiple times for actually very different reasons. And then she goes, well, how many people is this their first time seeing me? And the first time crowd has consistently been louder than the old, like I say old in quotes, but like people who have been following for her for a long time, which is like, she was like, you know what? We're all friends here. New friends, old friends. Like we have to start somewhere. So this is kind of like your Cliff Notes version of what we've been up to since y'all joined. And it's really sweet because, I mean, think about it. Her first album, a lot of these kids weren't like, I say kids because like my niece, she's 4, you know, we started listening to her when she was like 2, 3, 4. She's 5 now. She was definitely not around when Debut and Fearless came out. And those are like, she loves Fearless. That's like her favorite one.
That's adorable, actually. That is so sweet.
Not in 1989. No, she's actually like, she loves Fearless, 1989, and Reputation. So I'm teaching her well.
You are. Ooh, you are teaching her well.
Reputation is the one that we get asked about in the car a lot.
Nice. Oh, the snake, right?
Yeah, the snake song.
The snake song. That was going to be my question for you. So obviously, like, Tortured Poets Department has like a very special place in like both of our hearts. But like beyond that, is there another album that actually like calls to you?
I think it's one thing. I think it's going to be probably the later albums, even though I've listened to her since like Tim McGraw and Teardrops on My Guitar. Because one thing that she's really good about, because she's going through all of these eras, you know, when we talk about fandoms and our books that we read, and we talk about different points in your life where you're like, big feelings, you know, and she gets a lot of shit from media and a lot of shit from men and everything. Oh, and you know, the pick-me's or whatever. She only knows how to write about her boyfriends or like people that she's had a relationship. But if you take a step back, haven't we all had crushes at some point? Even if it was like there was a high school party on a Friday, you kind of hung out with each other all weekend, and then Monday and nothing happens. Like your feelings are so big. And so she does a great job of like remembering or having you remember, oh my gosh, I was young once. I remember exactly the point of time of what I was listening to then. And it kind of keeps everybody really youthful. And that's what I think. And then she even says, and then you make more new memories with it, because that's what she's been doing with the mashups is she'll take songs that she kind of wrote about somebody else or an experience. And she's kind of creating her new future with the mashups that she's doing in the surprise songs. I feel like it's a toss between taking Tortured Poets out of it, Midnight's Reputation in 1989. What about yours?
Ew, we're the same. Gross.
Well, I remember the first time Reputation came out, we were doing a road trip to, like a mini road trip to a convention, and you were dropping lore on your favorite songs. You're like, and this one was what this is about, and this one goes so much deeper, and I, like everything, I'm eating it up. I was like, you're making me love this more.
Those, you know, honestly, if I had to absolutely choose, like 1989 has some bangers. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm a Midnight's girly. Like
Midnight's is so good.
Midnight's is like, yeah, Midnight's, because
And
Reputation, it's like Reputation is there when I need it. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I can't need it all the time. But like Midnight's, I can do that most of the time.
Yeah, and Midnight's, like, I feel even, and hey, listeners, y'all tell us if you want us to do something similar for a Midnight's album. Like, the lyrics are so good in there, too. Yeah. And you, like, again, you remember, even though if it's not impacting you now, oh, damn, that hits because it reminds me of XYZ. And you're immediately like, somebody else put into words exactly how I was feeling when you had no words yourself.
Well, okay, you're so good at this. That is you exactly just put into words my feelings about the Tortured Poets Department. It's that I didn't have words for these feelings for all of these boys that I dated, right? Because like, okay, I'm so very sorry. Matty Healy is my type. He is my type through and through. Oh my God.
So your type.
So like I have dated like a version of that boy. So it is so nice to put into words all of these feelings I had when I was like 19 and just like struggling with these boys that I just could not. You're just like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Because like,
And it's like the acknowledgement of the attraction in those moments too. Like, I can't help it. I keep coming back to them. I don't know what's going on. Like, I date around, but they keep like, it's that magnetism that she writes about. She's like, I recognize all of this. I mean, even in one of her songs, she says like, who are you going to get?
Well, which one? Get into it. Let's start.
Track 2, Tortured Poets Department, the Tortured Poets Department. Who's going to love you? Who's going to hold you? Who's going to put up with your shit more than me? Because she had been on and off. Again, we know just like we had loosely discussed in our Megan Fox pop culture poetry episode, we kind of know some context of who some of these poems and lyrics can be about, but they're applicable to everybody, where you're having that anger towards a person, but also knowing you're the shit. Who are you going to do better than me? And acknowledging that in the sense.
It is also, though, so reassuring to know that Taylor Swift is powerless against chemistry, right? Like that is very important, because like, I think we all know guys like that, right? Like I can't even. The way that she describes it is just like so much better than, again, any words that I could possibly say. But like, we all know a guy like this that is just like insufferable, but he makes you feel a certain way. He's got that charm. And like, when he's on, he's on. And when it's good, it's good. And then it's like the chase is good and the flirting is good. And like, all of it is good. And then it happens finally. And it's bad. And it's bad. And it's bad because of him. And he's doing it. And you are trying so hard to justify everything that's happening. And he's crashing out in front of your eyes. And you're like, I did all of this for this? Are you fucking serious? Like, it's good shit. It's good shit. Again, words that my 19-year-old self like needed, right? Like
needed, but would you have would it have been in denial, or is it that you're like, I can recognize that as the grown woman that I am now, that this is what I needed, but would you have listened to it at 19?
Here's the thing. What I was listening to at 19 is still the same thing that I was listening to now, which is like heavy emo stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's true. heavy emo stuff. Here's the thing though. A lot of my heavy emo stuff is dude. It's guys. Yeah. Right?
Well, that's the conversation with Tortured Poets Department, where I feel like this was the first time people say like, I don't know the Speak Now album very well, but that was like her like loose trek into trying to explore emo. But then people say Tortured Poets Department is her emo album, and you have emo cover bands covering these lyrics and these songs in an emo cadence, and you're like, this was supposed to be emo. She made it Taylor, but it's Taylor's. I'm like, give me a whole emo album, and that's what she did.
Yep, and she has said that one of her favorite lyricists is Pete Wentz. So shout out Fall Out Boy.
Which she has two of Fall Out Boy's songs is like on the opening track pre-show. Mm-hmm. I was like, she was playing Light It Up. I was like, Laura.
We love it. We love it. We love Fall Out Boy. Okay. All right. So if we want to actually talk about the Tortured Poets Department anthology, I have songs that I want to talk about in whole, and then I have little pieces.
Yeah, I agree. Or like lines from certain songs. Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you, when we explored Megan Fox's poetry book, we kind of were discussing, or I had asked you, how did you approach it? Because we so typically do audiobooks. And you had given me the advice how you were going to approach it was going to traditionally read it, because you didn't want her narrating the audio to take you out of it. How did you approach this for the episode?
Excellent question. Excellent question. Here's the thing. I was already familiar with these songs. Very familiar. Like, I've listened the shit out of this album, right? So I knew the songs, but I hadn't sat down and read through all of them, which is what I did these past couple of days, is I read through all of them. Here's the problem with that. I cannot read them without singing them.
Yeah.
I cannot separate the two. And I guess that's fine. Like, these are her words. Like, and I know, like, the whole point at the very end of this album is to, like, give it back to us. Like, you know, you, like, do everything that you need to do with that. I understand this. But, like, Taylor, is so much a part of this that it was difficult to try to really parse out the music, like the musical part of it from like the actual written, like, word part of it, because I was humming along and I was like doing the things and like bopping my head and stuff. But like Sam was like, "What are you doing?" And I was just like, you know, bop, 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 bop in my head, and I looked really silly. But I ended up stopping that because I was taking notes here, and I ended up stopping because I just couldn't do it. And I would like lose my place and I'd go back, and it was very difficult. So I ended up just headphones in, volume up, and just going at it full throttle. And that was a lot of fun. And Jess, I have to thank you for all of this, because, you know, all of this in general, you letting us do this, like all of this glorious introduction of Taylor Swift, but having like the full volume, no distractions, re-listen months later, all the way through multiple times, was amazing. And that really solidified where I fall on this album, and the songs that are very important to me, and the ones that I can skip, and the ones that I need to be in a mood for. It was interesting, and I don't really feel like the ones that I love are the ones that are the like most popular. And I'm interested to see if you feel that way, because you know more than I do.
No, I feel like we know about the same in very different ways, because I remember maybe it was May, you had told me, okay, at this point, I think this, and I'm not going to say it because you might say it later, this song is my favorite in the album. I also found that there were songs and lyrics that I didn't necessarily vibe with. I don't say vibe. Maybe it just didn't hit for me, I should say. But I love the song. Like it was just like, I put in my notes, it'd be like song title, meh, because of the lyrics I didn't get, but I enjoyed the song. So that is going to be, that's a precursor to a question I'm going to ask you later as we're discussing.
As we're discussing. Oh my gosh. Okay. So as we're discussing.
Do we go by song, or do we want to just like cherry pick our leads and then kind of break down and see if we have any ones that kind of align?
I think we should do just like our big whole songs first, and then just kind of go from there, because I'm sure within the context of that we'll hit everything. Why don't you go first?
No, I don't want to go first. I've been talking too much. Go first.
Okay.
Go first.
Okay. I have to say that I am very basic. I'm a very, very basic person.
You are the least basic person that I know.
No, we know this. So I'm just going to go, when we talk about our big songs, I'm just going to go in order. My first one is, of course, track 5. So Long London. So as we were listening, as we were going through this, Jess, you and I, that was the first song that stopped me in my tracks. That was the first one where I was like doing other stuff as I was listening. I stopped what I was doing and I just listened the fuck out of that. Because, oh my God, I can't really describe that to somebody that hasn't listened to it. I've made editor Sam listen to it. He just does it. He's like, yeah, but he doesn't get it. Like, he just doesn't. You know what I mean? Like
it's a very specific song. I mean, what was one of the lyrics? And this stands out to me because of a separate conversation you, me, and editor Sam had. The line is, "And I'm pissed off. You let me give you all of that youth for free." Like,
ugh. It's amazing. It's amazing. If you want to get a little more specific, for me, it's the bridge. And most of these, I'm sorry, I'm basic. Most of these, I'm going to say the bridge hits me the hardest. But this one, specifically in So Long London, again, you say I abandoned the ship. I was going down with it. Yeah. My white-knuckled dying grip. And then the rest of it. Holding tight to your quiet resentment. And my friend said, it isn't right to be scared every day of a love affair. Every breath feels like rarest air when you're not sure if he wants to be there. This is applicable to so much. But like this is just like, it's one of those just like, oh, you thought that I didn't put up a fucking fight? I was going to die with this. And I can't do it anymore. It's also too just like how sad do you want me? Like before my survival instinct is going to kick in and I cannot do this anymore. How much sad, right? How much tragedy. It's just like this again. Joe, you're probably a fine person, but here you sound like a soul-sucking demon that is just like,
yeah.
Ugh.
No, and you know what? He was what she, and I think this happens for a lot of people in different relationships. He is what she needed when she needed it in her healing journey and what she was going through. I think if people are familiar with Taylor's timeline, that is definitely, you know, what she needed to grow, to heal. But and I think a lot of people can affirm the fact that sometimes we can tend to be in relationships longer than we should because we're fighting so hard, tooth and nail, because it's not going to be me. Don't put that I didn't try to put the effort into it, and the audacity that you think otherwise.
Yes. Oh my God. And again, like your lyric, I'm pissed off you let me give you all that youth for free. It's the because like he knew, right?
He knew. Well, and we know this from You're Losing Me, from the Midnight's album, the Vault track. Like, stop. I'm begging you. I'm giving you all this information and you don't care. I'm dying. Yeah. And you just dismissive. I mean, again, we talk about Midnight's, you know, how many songs are equated, like you could equate it to ACOFAE. You see Lindsay and Faye get sick all the time. And you see that shit happening and you're not doing anything about it.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it's good shit. It's good shit. I love it. I love it so much. And it's also too, I mean, I guess we'll talk about it a little bit later, but it's also the reflective, like, embarrassment of some of these songs. Yeah. Where she's just like, oh my God, like, really? Like, all of this for nothing? Like, that's also part of it too.
And this isn't like a deep dive into this specific song, but even in I Can Fix Him, when you talk about the reflective embarrassment, she's like, no, like I can fix him. I really can. No, really, I can't. Whoa. Maybe I can't.
Yeah. And oh God, that one's really good too. But I also think, I mean, maybe not, but I do think it helps significantly if you've had this sort of like manic pixie emo boy in your life. That kind of helps and puts in perspective why someone like Taylor Swift would just go head over heels for a guy like this. Like you kind of have to experience like the vibe, because the vibe is unmatched, which makes it so much more real, and me personally makes her so much more relatable as a person. Because like, who hasn't been fucked over by some emo boy? Jesus, right? Like, oh my God. Okay, Jess, give me.
I think the next one, again, I feel basic for the songs that I like too. We'll pull out My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys.
There you go.
I feel like that is, I mean, and she's actually on record. There's audio where she's like, look, it's about you're someone's shiny new toy. And it's the perspective, I think she had said, of what the toy is feeling like. What's one of the lies? You should have seen me when he first saw me.
Yes.
Like you said, we talked.
No, go.
No. It's
just,
like, it's the first, you're like, and I've had somebody tell me, what happened to the nice girl that I used to date that I fell in love with? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you fucking killed her. Mm-hmm. You beat it out of her. This is awful. And like to say, like, it's again, the relatability that she puts into words. You're like, yes, what the fuck is that about? And then they don't want to take any accountability for anyone's actions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also too, this is a grown song, right?
Yeah.
This is a grown woman song. This is a reflective song. It is heartbreaking too, because having that conversation, like I know what this looks like now. Like you really should have seen him. You should have seen him when we first got together though, because like he was everything then, but like, I know now, but like you should have seen it then. Like, girl.
Well, and then one of the lines, because this is like that moment where you're not sure, where you're like, I recognize this isn't healthy, but I also don't know how to get out of this cycle. Where she goes, once I fix me, he's gonna miss me. Like it's just like, I gotta do it. I reckon now we're in like the admittance part of this cycle of like, I know that this isn't healthy. I need to find the strength in myself to leave this non-healthy dynamic. And that's when he's going to realize, or anybody, again, the situation. Because one of the nights she did this mashup with This Is Why We Can't Have Nice Things. She's like, my boy only breaks his favorite toys, mashed up with This Is Why We Can't Have Nice Things. First show after the election. I mean, if she's not making a statement, then that's one hell of a coincidence.
That's incredible. That's amazing. Oh my God.
But when she starts the bridge of him, like that person being her best friend, like to be everything to each other and then to just have it dissolve. Again, it's like not taking care of something that you were supposed to value.
Oh my God. Okay.
Sorry, we're going to fangirl about like how brilliant she is this whole episode. So I hope you're a fan.
I hope you're a fan, but also just like putting into words about this too. Yeah. Like this is like really wonderful stuff. Even if you're not a fan, maybe listening in this context would give you some reason to maybe listen to these, because I think that would be a really interesting perspective to not really have exposure to these songs and then hear them and then go and read them. Because let's talk about the song that makes me cry. There's one song that makes me cry on this album, and it is Loss of My Life. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I cannot listen to this song without singing every single word, but then just like walking around crying. But
that's interesting that you're saying, you're calling it The Loss of My Life, but the name of the song is LOML, which most people know it as Love of My Life. So the the duality of the song title.
Yeah, it's really something. This song is a lived experience, I think. It is, again, it's like that reflective embarrassment. It's that like acknowledgement of the spark of like chemistry, of like this feeling of like, this is fate, right? Like it'll work out. Like we can do this. And then it doesn't work. And you put so much into it and it doesn't work. And not only does it not work, but it's full of lies. And it was never really there to start with. He treated you like shit. And then you're sitting there like, why did I do this? Like, I really thought that this was going to be something. We had this, because that feeling, that pull, that like tug that they talk about in books that actually like exists. And when you find that, it's very difficult to not gravitate towards that person. So the fact that not only did it like come together, come apart, come together, come apart, and then like just flame. It like flamed out into absolute nothing. It's just so sad here, especially like, again, I'm basic. It's the bridge. It's like, you know, you shit tuck me under the table, rings and cradles. It's just like, again, our dancing phantoms on the terrace, are they secondhand embarrassed? I can't get out of bed because this something counterfeit is dead. Legendary, momentary, unnecessary. It's the unnecessary part. It's just like, why did I do this? Everyone told me not to. And again, though, it's just one of those relatable things that's like, yeah, I got to learn this fucking lesson on my own. Because with the intention of like, I wanted this. Like, this is what I wanted. Like, because if you go through this and you kind of look at it, it's like there's the breakup and then she runs to this guy, immediately throws it all out there, puts it all on the line, heart in hands, and then he squashes it.
Because he was the, I don't want to say foundation, but it was the tether that you're talking about, right? Because maybe the reason it doesn't keep working with all of these other peoples is because it's supposed to keep happening with this other person, because how else do you explain the constant pull, the constant, I don't know what to say. Like is it camaraderie? Is it consistency? Is it like comfort that you have in each other? That is like, it's the familiar in these, there's so many different ways that it could be allocated.
It is so, I think, special too, to kind of like acknowledge that relationships like this exist, because it was very short. We all know that it was very short. But again, this chorus in Loss of My Life, what a valiant roar, what a bland goodbye. The coward claimed he was a lion. I'm combing through the braids of lies I'll never leave. Never mind. But here, our field of dreams engulfed in fire, your arson's match, your somber eyes. You did this, and I'll still see it until I die. You are the loss of my life. That was just like, I will be stuck with this little pocket of feeling forever. And like, I can, I know she did clean. I can do all of that, but like, sometimes I'm going to read that manuscript sometimes. I'm just going to be like, God damn, we could have had it all. It's really
so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. And then because I think we are not in her lives personally, obviously, I do think that we know publicly that it was short-lived, but I think it's been interwoven, because I'm not a Taylor Swift encyclopedia. There are people who have started going back onto older albums to be like, this was never about Harry at all or something. I'm throwing a name out there. And it's important, like the way people, we are all guilty of it, or many people are guilty of it. I won't use the collective term, of a situationship that consumes you. And it's very unrequited. It's very one-sided. It serves a purpose for one person and not for another. And this particular person, he's like, I don't know why it's that big deal. We weren't really in a relationship, you have to acknowledge that a situationship is a type of relationship. People can deny it all they want. It is a form of a relationship. And you see that with some of these lyrics. And like you said, it's being acknowledged because feelings are involved. Whatever the feelings are, those are real.
Yeah. Yeah. And the feelings are big, and they're articulated here in just ways that, like, again, I really needed when I was like 19, but like she wasn't ready to give up. You know what I mean? It's just like in no timeline, because we're in no timeline, could I have these words, at 19. So
she didn't have the words at 19.
Yeah, she didn't have the words at 19. So it's so important. It's so important. Jess, where take us.
Let's dive into let's say, I think this is a good segue talking about the pull, no matter what, into Florida. We both loved Florida. I heard Florida first time being in Florida. So at a very basic top level of the song, you can take it at face value. Come to Florida.
And a timeshare down in Destin. Okay, I grew up very near Destin. So my reaction to this song is just like, oh my God, my local place is, Taylor Swift song, which I think is everyone's reaction in that area.
Yeah. And then like the Florida tourism is using the song and everything. I mean, you have one-off lines like, my friends all smell like weed or little babies. Like, this city drives me crazy. I mean, the whole song is so quotable, especially for us, because yes, you have the literal form of like the cities going to your hometown, just kind of going back. I need to forget what's going on in my life. Take me to Florida. Some people really associate that with vacation. Fuck me up. Like, let's rally. Let's do all these things. But on a deeper level, this is also, you can apply it for take me to Florida. Florida is a person. Florida is this thing that you feel like is your home. It is positive. It is negative. It's going to fuck you up. Like, you're not even wanted at this. If you're considering Florida as this thing or your person as your hometown, you're not even welcomed there sometimes, but you keep still going back to the hometown that hates you anyway. We go, here come the holidays. Here we're traveling, and you keep going back because it's a familiar.
And it's also desirable on the surface. Right? It's like you think about it for a second. You're like, yeah, I should. Yes. But then it's like, should
the instant gratification that comes with again, surface level, vacation, location, whatever, or the deeper level, the instant gratification that comes with that.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, that's so good, Jess. And not a song that that is regularly, I think, discussed about deeper meanings, because everyone's just like, ah!
Yeah, like, I think we're totally, I mean, again, it's used in tourism. Mm-hmm. Like, I have family down there still that I see it every time. And if I think in my head how I'd make a reel or something with my family, romanticize your life, people, just create the content. I'm like, oh, this is again, such a great song on a surface level, but on a deeper level, shit.
Fuck me up, Florida. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay.
It's one hell of a drug.
It is
It's just,
It is. It is. I have a clump of songs that I want to talk about just in general, and then I want to hear everything from you. Okay, so my clump of songs are...
Going forever. This is dangerous.
Are Chloe or Sam or Sophie or Marcus. How Did It End? And then Peter.
Peter, really? Tell me more about Peter.
Peter. Oh, you want to hear about Peter?
Yeah.
Okay. I love Peter. I think there's this kind of whimsical feel to Peter that I really like. And of course, I romanticize Peter Pan a little bit because I like that, and I like the idea of Peter Pan as a villain.
Yeah.
I like that. So that, and then putting that here. But she's just sitting here and I like this imagery of I'm not going to tell you that I fucking waited, but I let that lamp burn. And I did all this other shit, but it was always, I always kind of kept the light on for you, my guy. And but it's also too, let's see, you said you were going to come up and you were going to come find me, right? And again, it's just these boys that just will not grow up. It's how long are you going to possibly wait? It's I am not this, for me, this circles back to I let you let me give you all of that youth for free. I know this is a different person that this song is about, but still, it's just how long do I have to wait for you to get your shit together? For you to tell me that you love me, for that you to come back to me? We were kids when this started, going back to what you said, this 10-year kind of storyline that they probably had. It's like, we were kids when this started. We're not kids anymore. Like, enough. I'm not going to sit here while you wait. Like, to the very end, it's like, you say you were going to grow up and then you were going to come find me. Words from the mouth of babes, promises ocean deep. Of course, there's aliens down there. But never to keep, never to keep. Like, it's not happening. It's like, with your feet on the ground, tell me all that you've learned, because love's never lost when perspective is earned. Go off. And you say you come get me, but you are 25 and the shelf life of all those fantasies has expired. Lost to the Lost Boys chapters of your life. Forgive me, Peter. Please know that I tried. Like, ooh, but the woman who sits on the window has turned off the light. Like, she's fucking done. And I love that, because I think there is this feeling when you have this thing with somebody that you're just like, once they realize, like, they're gonna come and they're gonna get me, and like, this is kind of going back to just the book that we were just reading, where it was like, you know what? Fine, I'm going to go be fucking emperor, and I'm going to set up being emperor, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to get you, and we're going to be emperor together. It's like
Of Jade and Dragons?
Yeah, it's one of those. It's like, you know, but and it doesn't happen. And it's like, how long do you expect me to wait to get your shit together? Like, I'm not going to wait anymore. And I love when a woman is done.
Because when a woman is done, she's done.
She's done. She's done. And she's absolutely done here. She's turning off the light. Peter, I'm sorry. You're not growing up. I am fucking off without you. Like, I'm finished. And I respect the hell out of that. And I like that the song, I know we're not talking about the music part of it, but it's like very like light and kind of like breezy, whimsy, but the lyrics kind of like pull you down. And that is kind of part of it with the Peter and all of it. And I just really respect that.
Oh, I didn't realize, like, Peter, like the up and down, like he's flying, like the whimsical part of it. Okay. That is, that's so good.
I really, really, really enjoy Peter. And that's kind of what I was going, for when I said earlier that like these songs that I really like these ones at the end of the album, are not ones that I hear talked about a lot. But I just really, really, really love, you know, it's, let's see, let me go back to, I also I'm growing more fond of Robin, which I also don't hear much about, either. But, how did it end in Chloe or Sam or Sophie or Marcus are the two that just like, really, 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 really get me. Those are the two that they have like really good bridges and stuff, but like those are the ones that I scream. Those are the ones that like really, really activate all of my feelings instead of just like the sad parts or the reflective parts or the like angry parts. These are like all of my feelings, which I find very fun. I find very fun. Okay, you go.
I feel like yours are so deep and I have the most basic ones that I love. And I think I think when I first heard I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, I'll say it's like my number one song on the album for the sole reason of like what I was going through at that time when it had dropped, and it wasn't even related. I never applied it in a romantical sense. It was strictly applied to something like actually that has like, it was a circumstance that was going on where you were just like, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to cry. I'm still going to cry about it, but all of the lyrics where, you know, from the lines of, you know, again, basic, I'm a tough kid. I can handle my shit. You got to fake it till you make it. Lights, camera, bitch, smile. I can do this in stilettos for miles. I'm going to do it all. I'm going to do it well. And I'm just going to keep doing it. And you're not going to know. Nobody, I'm just going to put a smile on. I cry a lot because I'm so productive. You know, you're so good at the shit that you're doing, even though you're breaking inside. And it came out at a time that I was like, in therapy twice a week, and it was just really heavy and having to work through what I was going through. And I'm still in therapy like pretty regularly, like at least still once a week, but I don't sob every day. And that's a huge, just like a huge journey that I've been on this year. So when that song came out, I was like, damn. And that's why I think when we started exploring our pop culture poetry series is how multidimensional art can be based on the person who is perceiving it.
And also I don't mean you specifically. The person that is consuming the art also will interact with it differently as they themselves grow and change. And I think that is something spectacular that like we as like humans can do, but also something that an artist is capable of that is just wonderful. So like not only did you just get to experience the Eras Tour in different periods of Taylor's life, but you also got to experience it in different periods of your life and in the life of our country, you know, the moon cycle, the you know, all of it, you know, all the vibes. So you get to experience all of these feelings, and you get to experience it with the collective. So I guess my question for you would be like, what was it like experiencing all of these feelings that these songs kind of pull out of us, because it pulls out different things and different feelings. But like in a collective like that, what was that like? Was the energy?
I think you can just tell, like when you talk, you know, I think we've gone to multiple shows of the same artist, and you know, where you can tell, like we need to actually formally put a list together, but where we'll say, oh, this show was good, but this crowd was better here when we saw them in Philly instead of Denver. Or like we've seen them in so many different cities, and you can tell that there is an energy from the crowd where one night maybe was stronger, had more energy, was just like a different vibe. So to feel that collectively, to experience these collectively, it's like everybody, again, as their own consumer of the media, is putting their cathartic release into this, however it means to them. And that's just kind of whooshed out into a stadium.
That's amazing too, that an artist is able to do that and is able to be the focus of that. Yeah. Without taking too much on yourself. I think that's on healthy boundaries too. And of course, it's taken Taylor a really long time to get there. And of course, there's lots of documentary
the discussion with like
footage, all of that.
Oh yeah. And like there's another one being made, and also like the conversation of like parasocial relationships that come with it too.
Oh my goodness. I think that. And now we have covered two, I think, very intense fandoms, being Star Wars and now Taylor Swift. It is important to acknowledge the power that fandom has, because Taylor's fandom, her fandom is intense. It's global. It is something that is to be thought of when you are thinking about Taylor.
Well, yeah. And I think even recently I had seen, before we started recording, it's, you know, Christmas season, it's the holiday season, and Mariah Carey typically has her All I Want for Christmas Is You is like the number one song during the holidays. Talk about the power of fandoms. Her boyfriend's brother, Jason Kelce, has a Christmas song out with Stevie Nicks, and that's number one over Mariah Carey's. So don't say that fandom doesn't have power, because fandom can make or break anyone. Which is, I think, a good segue into my Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. It's, I think, I want to hear your thoughts, because I know you love this song as well. Or I'd like to think I think you appreciate the song as well, I should say.
I love this song very much. I appreciate her live version where she is screaming 10 times more then
once you hear it live, you're like, why did you record this studio?
Why'd you record it any other way?
The anger, yes.
Yeah. It's amazing. The scream really does it. The visuals really kill it for me. It is amazing. It's a fantastic song. The emotion, the frustration, the rage. It is, I think, unique sort of in pop music too, is this kind of rage. I find that more in pop punk, emo situation, but to have the rage be so focal on such a well-known global superstar is so wonderful and so just lovely. But I want to hear about you.
I think we could even pick apart the lyrics of where she's like, I was tame, I was gentle till the circus life made me mean. Don't you worry, folks. We took out all her teaks. It's the conversation that is happening between basically Taylor and the media, or you're just being angry. Like, oh, we've placated her. She's calm. You made me this way because weren't you the ones who, let me see. Weren't you the ones who, and the lyrics are, because you lured me, you hurt me, and you taught me, and you caged me. You gaslit me thinking I was crazy, basically. And now I'm the product of what you created. You raised, this is who I became. And now you want to point fingers again. So who's afraid of me? Because now you've given me all of the power. And you should be scared of me. Look what you did. You made me a caged animal, and now I'm going to fight back.
As she should. As she should. As she should.
So it's like, what? Afraid of little old me? Oh, I thought it was tame. But it's the rage. And I wish she would release that live, because it does, once you hear it live, you're like, throw it out the window. It's beautiful lyrically, but give me the rage, because so many people have it.
Yeah, and especially now, but the rage too, the imagery, just it is so powerful. It is so just like women, right?
Right. Yes.
And that's what we love. That's what we love. Just tell me more. I need to know.
Well, I was going to ask, do you have honorable, I think I asked earlier, are there songs that you like that you don't necessarily love the lyrics, or you're like, this is a bop. I could get into this. This is fun.
Oh, great question. Let me
an honorable mention, if you will.
Oh, sure. Okay. The Alchemy and so High School.
I'm so glad that those are yours too.
I just, this is B every time they're playing.
You're
just stupid smile on my face, and I'm just bouncing along. I'm just yay. Who are we to fight the alchemy? I love that. It's just great shit.
Well, and it goes to what you were saying earlier about undeniable chemistry. Why are you, because now it's not just physical chemistry. It's all encompassing.
Especially Alchemy. I love the slowness of this. I know we're not talking music, but I love the slowness of the song too, where there's no frantic, frenetic, energy. She's just touchdown. It's just very and caught him from the it's very
that nervousness that comes with love. It's not
gone.
Yeah.
It's not there. It's one of those comfort, this is it, it's like that. And it's very noticeable, for me, just the kind of shift, musically for that, where it's
and it's at the tip, because it's interesting you say that, because of the arrangement of the songs. And again, we're trying to focus on lyrics, even though it's an album, where the slower songs, the slower cadences are towards the tail end or part of the anthology, because the Alchemy is not on the actual original album, I'll say. I don't know. We've only ever listened to the anthology version, so I didn't know that there was a copy that didn't have all the songs that we love.
Yeah, those two. And So High School, I like seeing the footage of So High School. She's just kicking her feet. It is wonderful. It's happiness, it's joy, and those things bring me a lot of joy when I am listening to this album. And I don't skip those songs, whereas I need to be in a headspace to listen to some of the other ones, and I will skip those.
No, and there's definitely a levity to them, right? Because I think what I love about So High School too, not just the choreo, but it's the feeling that we've been talking about a lot this year on the podcast of big feelings and acknowledging them and like remembering the giddiness that you felt. And then to also know that you can still feel that way. I think this is like part of discourse where some people feel like as you age, will you lose like certain feelings? Will you just be kind of like dreary? I think I saw a TikTok the other day. I might have shared it with you where someone was like, oh, I saw my boss celebrating her 40th birthday and now I'm not scared anymore. Cause for so long society tries and does a good job at it too of scaring people into aging. And I feel like this song takes you out of that. You're like, you can love. You can be in love. You can feel young and youthful and happy and remember these big feelings of your youth can apply at any age. And plus, like my rom-com heart, I love it so much.
On the flip side of that, a song that I don't like vibe with, but is a bop and I will listen to it is, I'm Gonna Get You Back. I just don't.
Why are we the same person? I'm like, yes.
Cause part of me is like, yeah, go off. Like, yeah, I love it. But another part of me is like, but like, it's
really,
so
that's not
catchy.
like, don't go
it's
back.
So
Come
catchy.
on. Yeah, it's so catchy.
It's so
like,
catchy.
Lyrically, you're like, no, don't do that. No.
Yeah, but the beat's like, you're like, okay. All
and
right,
that's a quickness too, because the title is all one word. I'm gonna get you back. Like it's not broken up.
Yeah, so it's just fun. That's a bop that I don't love, but I will never not play because it's a fucking bop.
It's such a bop. Oh, I love it. You haven't been to a Taylor Swift concert yet, have you? I know you tried to get pre-sale.
Yeah, I gave a solid college effort, but like I did not really try too hard. No, I have not seen her in concert. As I get older, I like to sit down. So seats are important. And also I get so nervous waiting and fighting for tickets. And you know what I mean? It's just like, it's one of those things. But
back in my day, which isn't that long ago, it wasn't like that though. That's the thing. Like there's this it's nerve wracking now. Concerts used to just be like, especially if you got a pre-sale code, I will affirm to say like, not that Taylor's team would ever listen to this episode, but if they want to go back to the reputation, you streamed YouTube and you bought a couple albums, you would register your codes that came with it, and you would get pre-sale codes before all the bots, so you got your pre-sale codes, you were done before general sale, and you moved on with your life. And you were fine.
Yeah. Now it's this whole production.
Yeah.
And not just for her, for everybody. It's not just for her.
For everybody. Yes. Cause Gaga was the same way. Gaga had a special fan site and it wasn't like a, fall 2020 or something code that everybody had access to. It was a special code that everybody got, or different codes that everybody got. And you got your ticket and you were on your way. You didn't have to fight anybody. So I think that's where the frustration lies. It's, the capability is there. So why aren't we doing it?
Yeah. And also too, logistically, I don't know, like Denver, it's just this whole thing. But no, I have not gone to see her. Not saying that I wouldn't. Obviously, I would love to go. It's just like one of those things that hasn't happened yet. Maybe in the future, maybe, 20 years from now, whatever. It would be fantastic.
Her acoustic set. She'll probably have to sit in 20 years too.
I think it would be amazing. I think it would be wonderful to see her. And it is really fantastic that she has so many of her concerts filmed, and there are documentaries filmed that are just like moments in time that we will always have, so that we can watch these concerts as her career, evolves and changes, and we can grow with her, and then also have these moments to go back and reflect on, because also, I think it's important that we start really thinking about physical media and what physical media can do for us, and the availability that physical media gives people. So the fact that Taylor has a lot of physical media for sale out there, like her music there's a lot of records, like physical, there's a lot, she's out there. And I think that while people don't like her for that, and it is seen as a cash grab, I think her accessibility to physical media is something that other artists should follow suit with, because streaming is getting weird.
It's getting weird. And I mean, and to follow up with that, it's like Taylor did have Reputation, her tour on Netflix. You can't find it. It's taken off of Netflix, and there's no physical copy of that. So then what do? Do you start encouraging people to start doing not so legal activities and to ensure that they have the content because there's no accessibility? Like, do you start cornering people into saying, like, what do I do next? Mm-hmm. I mean, these are all topics of discussion. I know this whole episode we can stem very different ways, which is also really exciting because we love to explore fandoms. It's part of the key. But that being said, thanks so much for listening to us. Feel free to reach out. We're on ACOFAE Podcast on Instagram. We're also both on TikTok, ACOFAE Laura and ACOFAE Jessica. Thanks so much for joining, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Bye.